Hello, 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 and welcome back to DLA Alternative. It's your boy Brandon, and I hope everyone is doing phenomenal as always. And thank you to everyone who keeps subscribing, liking, and following this journey with us. We are on the road to 2K, people, so keep helping us get there. But in this video, we are going to be going over our Stranger Things daily poll list. Okay, this is not going to be a theory, so don't get disappointed, but we're going to just do a little update on our Stranger Things daily poll list. If you are new to this channel, all right, what I've been doing is posting a daily Stranger Things poll for you guys to choose from with a random topic and random choices. They are all still active, and we're going to keep them active up until Stranger Things Season 5 premieres, and then we are just going to release this list, and it's going to be called the Stranger Things list. All this is, like I said, is just random goofy topics, some serious, some not, but we're just going to do a little update and see what you guys have been choosing, because I have not looked at this except for the day after from the time I posted each poll. I've been trying my damnedest not to try and look at any of these, so let's just do a little update and see what you guys have been choosing. So for our first topic, okay, your first topic was most likely to be a goner, and this was kind of a serious one, not so much comedic, but you had your choices, and this was a guys edition. All right, we did a guys and a girls edition. For the guys edition, okay, you guys had your choice between Steve, Dustin, Murray, and Jonathan, all right? And with a whopping 53%, you guys chose Murray, all right? So apparently you guys think Murray's going to be a goner, all right? And you guys had some interesting things to say in the comments. But if you guys like these little update videos, okay, in the next update video when we continue, all right, we have 20 topics or 20 polls to go through on this. But in the next one, we could do a little bit less, and then we could start looking at your guys' comments and see what you guys' reasonings was for all of this, because they had me cracking the fuck up, people. I swear to you. But like I said, let's just continue, all right? So your next choices was for the girls' edition, most likely to be a goner, and I gave you the choices between Nancy, Robin, Joyce, and Karen. And I obviously put Karen on there because she was an obvious one people think is going to be a goner. But I put those other ones on there just to see what your guys' thoughts were, because my choice was obviously, I put my one choice. This is the only a poll I answered on, I believe. But I put my choice as Nancy because I really truly think she would be one of the most influential and craziest characters to be a goner in this show at all. She's been an original character, okay? She's helped through this whole process. She's a family member, obviously, of one of the main characters. She is a main character. I shouldn't say that, but you know what I'm trying to say here is that she would be a crazy character to be a goner in this show. But these are not my choices. These are the subscribers' choices and the viewers, all right? And you guys chose with a whopping 52% Karen Wheeler. So obviously the Stranger Things community is not off the Karen Wheeler train. Me, in my opinion, I really do think Karen would be also a crazy, influential goner in the show. But I have a lot of thoughts about Robin and Nancy more than anybody. So like I said, we could talk about that in another video, but just let me know your thoughts so far because these get very interesting, all right? But the next topic, all right, was a goofy one. All right, we did a guys edition and a girls edition on this topic as well. And this next topic was best dressed. And this was more comedic, okay? And by your choices, all right? So you had the choices of Mike when he goes and visits Will and Eleven in California, right, when he's at the airport. You had your choice of Argyle when he's at Surf Boy Pizza and he's taking orders on the phone. Or you had your choice of Will in his Will the Wise outfit. And then you had your winning choice, okay, with a whopping 48% being Hopper in his Magnum PI outfit. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. That's all I gotta say. I would have chose Argyle. I love the Surfer Boy Pizza outfit, but apparently you guys just love the Hopper outfit, the Magnum PI look, okay? And with a whopping 48% out of 213 votes, okay, obviously a lot of you guys love that, so it's your guys' choice, not mine, like I said, but let's continue to the girls edition, all right? So you had your choices between Erica in season 3 when they are in Starcourt Mall with her lights on the head, and then you had your choice of Joyce when they're in Starcourt Mall as well in the Russian outfit, okay, when she's wearing the soldier's outfit. And then we had season 4 Robin when they go to Penhurst Asylum and she convinces that doctor to let them see Victor Creel. And then you had 11, okay, when they are at Rinkomania and she is in her dress outfit that looks homemade. But with a whopping 49%, you guys chose the actual best dressed in out of these choices, being Robin. Okay, so she is the winner of the best dressed competition. But like I keep saying, let me know your thoughts. All right, these ones are just for fun. A lot of these are just going to be comedic and for fun, and they're just random topics. I've asked AI, I've asked you guys, I've asked a lot of different people just what they would choose as a random topic, and I'll create the choices. But this next one was actually a suggestion by AI, which I found absolutely hilarious, and I needed to put it on here. But the next choice wasn't a guys or girls edition. It was just most likely to end up working for Steve Harrington's dad. And I picked the choices, and I gave you the choices between Andy, which is one of the seniors we see in season 4, and then Lucas, Mike, and Doug, which is a Hellfire Club member. And with a whopping 51%, you guys chose Andy, one of the seniors on the basketball team, okay, one of Jason's friends. But if you would have asked me, okay, I definitely probably would have picked Doug. I love Doug. I think he's hilarious. But let's just continue, people. Okay, I hope you guys are liking these. And we also had a guys and girls edition, but the girls edition on this one was a little different. But let's do the guys first. This next one was best hair. Okay, and I gave you guys the choices between Eddie, Billy, Argyle, and Steve. All right, and I'm sure you guys already know who you guys picked. You guys picked with a whopping 54% Steve the Hair Harrington, which is no surprise at all. I had to put him on there because if I wouldn't have, people probably would have drove me insane saying, "Why? Where's Steve? Where's Steve?" But like I said, I pick the choices, and I'm not going to put all the obvious choices on these ones, okay? Because as we get into our next one, all right, our next one was Best Hair Girls Edition, but I did not give you all these random choices of random girl characters in this show. I only gave you one character because, in my opinion, there is only one best hair character in this show, and that is Karen Wheeler, in my opinion. So instead of Girls Edition, we did Best Hair Karen Edition, which is your choices between Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 Karen. And with a whopping 61%, which kind of does not surprise me because I like this one the best as well, is Season 3 Karen. But I thought it was funny that only 8% of you voted for Season 4 Karen, because I'm not a fan of those headbands either, which a lot of you said in the comments from what I believe. But as we jump to our next topic, okay, I was going to do most likely to be class president, but I thought of a little bigger topic, okay, because as we see in Season 3, our Mayor Klein, he gets arrested for pulling some shit, okay? So we did most likely to become Mayor of Hawkins in the future, and I gave you the choices of Mike, Dustin, Robin, and I'm sure you already know who you picked with a whopping 79%. Your last choice was Erica, and no doubt in my mind, you cannot spell America without Erica. So no surprise to me on that one whatsoever. Out of 245 votes, 79% of you picked Erica, which is not a surprise, like I said. But as we get into this next one, this was a funny one, okay? And these were just a random people, okay? And this one was called Employee of the Month. And from your choices, okay, oddly enough, they were all from Season 3, and I don't know why. That's kind of odd. But your choices were Ricky from 7-Eleven. Okay, that's the one Grigori slams his head on the desk. And then your other choices were that pool guy who Eleven and Max go to try and return Heather's bag to, who's just a dickhead, okay? And then you had the one who I thought you guys were honestly going to pick, which was Hot Dog Guy, who just gets shit-talked to Mayor Klein for putting the cart in the wrong spot. But your guys' choice with a whopping 67% was Aerobics Guy. Okay, so Aerobics Guy is our Employee of the Month on our Stranger Things list. We could do another one of this, so there's more people that we could choose from here. But let's just keep going because this next one was a favorite one of mine. I had to do this one. I thought it was interesting, but this next topic was Stranger Things, your favorite Ruski. And that is going to be your favorite Russian character that we see in this show, and you had your choices between Grigori, Yuri, Dmitri, and Alexei, and I'm sure you guys know who everyone picked. I was a little surprised. I know he was a dickhead, but Yuri only got 4%, and I was not surprised about Grigori, but out of 294 votes to get 1% of the vote, I want to know who voted for Grigori. That, in my opinion, is absolutely fucking hilarious, but with a whopping 70%, okay, Dimitri got 24, and Alexei, our boy, got 70, all right? So, no doubt in my mind, I knew you guys were going to pick Alexei, but I had to put the other other ones on there, and I wanted to see your thoughts. I thought it was fucking hilarious. But as we get to our next topic, okay, this one was kind of going to be a serious one. This one actually we could do theories off of, so let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments. But our next topic was an interesting one. It was who has the biggest secret? And I gave you the choices between Mama, Papa, Hopper, and 11. And you guys had some interesting things to say, but with a whopping 50%, okay, Mama was the winner, who apparently you guys think has the biggest secret, okay? Which in my opinion, I find very interesting because I am a huge fan of the Mama character. I find that I truly think she is the most mysterious character that we have in the show that we know almost nothing about. We see very little. We know she has major involvement with everything that's going on. She's apparently the mother of one of our main characters, one of the biggest characters in this show. And we've only seen her in a matter of a few scenes in person and in flashbacks. So no doubt in my mind, if we don't see her in season 5, I'm going to flip shit. But no doubt in my mind, I truly think we need to. I don't think the story would make sense without having Mama's involvement, or us seeing 11 go back and meeting Mama, or having her as an actual character in season 5. For the first time, maybe we will see Mama have actual involvement in the show. I'm really, truly hoping so. So let me know your thoughts as well. But our next topic, okay, is another goofy one, and this one was random, and this one was actually chosen by AI. Once again, this was a suggestion from AI, which is so random. But the topic was most likely to accidentally get themselves stuck in the Upside Down. And I gave you the choices between Keith, who works at the arcade, Gareth the Great, one of the Hellfire Club members, Angela from California, and then Phil, our cop, okay, our goofy-ass cop. And surprisingly, I really, really thought people were going to choose Angela on this one. I mean, I'm really not a fan of that character, and hats off to that character or that actress who played that character for truly making that character so annoying. She did a phenomenal job as an actress, truly like making that character hated, in my opinion. But with a whopping 56%, you guys decided that the police officer of all of these people, Phil, is going to be the one to accidentally get himself stuck in the Upside Down, or could be capable of that, which doesn't surprise me, I guess, slightly. But you guys got to realize this man is a police officer, right? So I really don't think he's that stupid, but I guess that's your choice, people. These are the subscribers' choice. And I find it absolutely fucking hilarious that you guys chose him. And maybe it was just the picture I chose because I love that picture of him, but I thought it was just hilarious. So let's just keep going, people. Because this next one, all right, is an interesting one. This is kind of a serious one, too. And you guys did not pick the one that I really thought that you guys were going to pick. But I had my own choice, okay? Like I said, these are your guys' choices. But this next one, it was most likely to figure out how to stop the bigger problem, and actually will. And I gave you the choices of Robin, Dustin, Nancy, and Will, okay? And surprisingly enough, with a whopping 57%, you guys chose Dustin. I'm not going to lie to you. I truly think that Nancy and Robin are going to have major influence in actually figuring out how to stop it. But I think Dustin is going to have the technical knowledge on how to actually do it, okay? But my true thoughts, all right, people, is that Will is probably going to be the one to figure out how to actually stop whatever the hell's going on. Or he's going to be a part of how to stop this bigger problem. I think that might be very obvious, but let me know your thoughts. And trust me, I have bigger thoughts on that one. We can do a theory separately about that. Let me know your thoughts about that and what you guys would want in a theory strictly based about that and the fate of Will Byers. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing in all of the theories involving Will. But we could jump to my thoughts strictly about what I truly, truly think is going to happen in season 5 involving the fate of Will Byers. And I'm not giving any hints unless you could pick up on that right now. But there's so many rumors going on in the Stranger Things world right now. So many thoughts, so many theories. So let me know your thoughts about that topic specifically. Well, let's continue, okay? And as we get to our next topic, this was actually on 4th of July, all right? And I gave you an interesting one. And people are a little confused by this topic, and I was too. But make of these as you will, and these choices you pick based off what the topic says. This next one was the most Flayed of the Flayed. And I gave you the choices of Heather, Bruce, Tom, and Doris. And with another whopping 58%, which doesn't really surprise me on this one, I would have chose her too, was Doris, okay? And I'm only going to read one comment on this. Like I said, we could read more comments in another part of this, of the video or whatever, in the next step of this for the next like daily polls. But I'm going to read one comment that made me crack up so fucking much. And it was from Melissa Davis, 4981. All right. She goes, Doris, bro, she ate fertilizer. Ew. As soon as I read that, I busted out laughing. I spit my water out of my mouth, and no doubt in my mind, that's exactly why I would have picked her too. I mean, girl, you were eating dirt, okay? You were eating manure, all right? We see all the other ones just drinking bleach and shit, which is just weird, but manure, ugh, gosh, cannot even imagine. Oh my Lord, I swear, no. But anyways, all right, our next one was a fun one, all right? I like this one a lot, and I was really surprised by these choices, especially since we have a major nickname. I know she's young, all right, but anyways, let's just get to the topic. If you didn't know, I am from Chicago, okay, and in Chicago for the past 3 years, every 4th of July weekend, we have had the Chicago Street Race, a NASCAR race, okay? And with this poll falling on that weekend, all right, I had to put this one in there, and the topic was most likely to win in a street race. And I gave you the choices of Max, our Zoomer, okay, that's why I was mentioning that earlier, and Steve, then Billy, and Hopper, all right? And I'm not surprised about him winning, but with a whopping 59%, Billy took the win on who would be most likely to win in a street race. However, I did truly think you guys were going to start picking Max, and it was going to be a little closer between Max and Billy. I wanted to see more of a battle between those two because they're siblings, but it's your guys' choice, and 59% of you out of 265 votes chose a Billy, which just amazes me. I love these polls. I hope you guys are liking them because this next one was one of my favorites, okay? This is one of my next favorites, and I was very surprised. Okay, you guys had your own thoughts about what I meant by this, okay, because obviously the choices were random. But as you guys chose from, okay, this next topic was Father of the Year Award. And I gave you the choices between Ted, Mike's dad, Charles, Lucas's dad, Lonnie, Will's dad, and then Victor, which is Henry Creel's father. And obviously you can tell by those choices, all right, that they're not so much the Father of the Year material. However, you guys chose the most Father of the Year, in my opinion, out of all of them, being Charles Sinclair with the win with 47%. And like I said before, some of these polls are just going to be goofy and random, but I kind of just put random dads on there and you kind of got the hint. But you guys did choose the most Father Year, in my opinion, being Charles Sinclair. But hats off to Charles Sinclair, and most of you guys basically chose him because you guys said he's a father of a badass son and a badass daughter, which no doubt in my mind is 100% true. So as we get into our next one, I think we only got like 2 or 3 left. So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know your thoughts. But our next topic was Stranger Things' biggest nerd. All right. And I could have put a lot more people on here. And yes, there's a lot of different reasons for being a nerd and what defines a nerd. But I thought these choices were good choices. And Mr. Clark was not on there for a reason. I actually completely didn't even think of him when I made this, surprisingly enough. But Mr. Clark probably wouldn't have been on this list because I think he might have won by a landslide because a lot of you guys were asking, like, where's Mr. Clark? Why is he not on this list? But like I said, these are my choices and you guys have to choose from them. So tough. But anyways, all right, your choices for this category was Susie, Dustin, Murray, and Bob. And this one was actually one of our closer ones for the first time out of all of these, believe it or not. But with the whopping 7%, okay, Murray came in last place. I guess, apparently you guys don't really think Murray is a nerd, but okay, that's your thoughts. But in third place, okay, with 21%, you guys chose Dustin, which surprised me, okay. And then in second place, okay, with 33%, okay, compared to 39% being our first place. In second place was Bob Newbie, which I'm surprised he did not take this win, people. Because if you already guessed it, all right, our winner being the biggest nerd in Stranger Things from what you guys chose with 39% was Susie, all right? So we could do another category. Let me know if you want to do a round 2 of this topic. I thought this was a fun one and a fun topic to choose from, but no doubt in my mind, I really thought you guys were going to pick Bob, but Susie for the win. She is our biggest nerd, people. Okay, I just looked. We actually have 3 more left. Okay, so this is our third to last one, all right? Our next topic, people, is a big one, and this is why Mr. Clark was not on the last one, because I had this one prepared for the next day. This topic was Scientist of the Year Award, and I gave you the choices between Brenner, Owens, Alexi, and Mr. Clark. And there's a reason for why he was not on the last one, and I probably was smart for not choosing because Mr. Clark has won the Scientist of the Year Award, which astounds me because technically he's just a teacher. But with the win, with 55%, Mr. Clark is our Scientist of the Year. And I'm surprised you guys didn't pick Alexi on this one. I didn't really think you guys were going to pick Brenner Owens. But I am a little surprised that 55 to 19% versus Mr. Clark and Alexi out of 240 votes is pretty astounding to me. But Mr. Clark for the win. I love that character. I really hope we see him in season 5. I am hearing rumors that he has not yet been confirmed to be coming back for season 5. I don't know how true that is, but let me know your thoughts and let me know if you know anything about that. But I really think he kind of needs to. I don't see how it makes sense if he doesn't. I know they're in high school and stuff, but this man has taught them so many lessons leading up to that point. Like, he's got to be there. He was in 3 seasons of this show. Like, I understand why he wouldn't have been in season 4 necessarily, just because it was like I really truly think like season 4 and season 5 are going to be like kind of connected directly. I think they're going to be like a continuance of a story, more or less, you know, like the whole entire story. I know we're time jumping and all that, but with them like going to high school in that season, it did make sense for Mr. Clark not to be there in this point in time unless they needed help, but they were all separated in that season. So now that they're all back together in season 5, no doubt they're going to need a Mr. Clark lesson. Let me know your thoughts and like the video for that reason. But let's get into our second to last category. All right, people, I hope you like this one. Let me know your thoughts. But the next category was most likely to win a Dungeons and Dragons game or campaign, whatever. And I gave you some interesting choices. I didn't give our normal group, okay, obviously the ones that play the game. But I gave you our older group of the kids, all right? So I gave you Steve, Robin, Nancy, and Jonathan. And with no surprise, to be honest, a whopping 55% you guys chose Robin. But I did think some of the stuff was funny that you guys were saying about Steve, how Steve would just have fun with it. But oddly enough, Steve came in last place with only 10%, Jonathan 12%, and then Nancy with 24%, which is interesting. I could see it being technical if you're thinking in that way, and Robin, I think, would be technical and also very like fantasy-like, you know, whimsical. She would get super into it. I totally think she would rock that Will the Wise outfit, no doubt in my mind. Let me know your thoughts. But as we come to a close with this video, people, and we get to our last update of our Stranger Things polls, and our last poll so far, this is poll number 20, all right? So we're going to continue this every day, like I said, so keep subscribing, liking, following this journey. But our last poll was one of the suggestions from you guys, all right? And our last poll was a girls edition so far, so we're going to continue that, obviously. You probably already saw the guys edition. It's not out yet as of the filming of this right now. But currently, our last poll so far is most likely to be a Traitor Ladies edition, and your choices were Marissa, Miss Kelly, Aunt Becky, and Vicky. And this one I knew was going to kind of mix things up a little bit with the choices. Marissa, I kind of just threw in there. Vicky, in my opinion, I really think it's random that we have this new character and love interest for Robin, supposedly, coming in at random times through season 4, and then we come to a close with those two characters getting close in season 4. So it's just a little odd to me that we see that character that might have influence in close relation to our group in season 5. Just keep that in mind. But between Miss Kelly and Aunt Becky, I'm not surprised that you guys were going back and forth. But our winner, with most likely to be a Traitor Ladies edition, is Aunt Becky with 52%. Our sus Aunt Becky. If you have seen my Aunt Becky theory, go check it out. She is so sus, and she is probably one of the sussest characters, and she knows stuff that she shouldn't know, and she mentions stuff that she shouldn't know anything about. So no doubt in my mind, it makes perfect sense, but I had to throw the Miss Kelly on there because a lot of people truly think that Miss Kelly is like a Vecna spy, and I really don't see that at all. I get the fact that all of the victims were going to see Miss Kelly, which is odd, but all I see that is that all of these victims just had some like depression, or they had some mental like things going on, some thoughts that they needed to get out. We know that people targets people like that who are becoming weak-minded and thinking dark thoughts and all this shit. So if that's all that was, all she was technically a therapist, people, or a school counselor, whatever you want to call her, but who actually knows? All right, but I'm not surprised with the Miss Becky pick. But like I said, I hope you guys like this one. This was just a little update. I hope this was a little fun video. We could do more stuff like this other than theories. We obviously are going to have to adjust other than theories on this channel, but I have a lot of ideas. Let me know what other type of videos other than theories that we could create here. What types of things do you guys want to see from me? Do you want me to get out of this desk and go out into the real world? Because I love talking to people in the real life setting, but I've never done it on camera, so I would be extremely fucking nervous. But there's a first time for everything, okay? Because I have a big idea that I wanted to do for a long time. I'm just, like I said, I'm just very nervous. But I really have this idea asking strangers about Stranger Things in a real life setting and seeing what people have to say about it. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. And let me know how you guys like these daily polls. And keep subscribing, liking, following this journey. And you guys already know, we out.